What rumor did you hear at work that sounded fake but actually happened to you? Everyone said Paula, the hairdresser I hired, was actually working for the FBI. I laughed it off because who'd believe a federal agent would be cutting hair in the worst part of town, but I understood why they thought that. She was great, friendly, but also really nosy. The type of nosy that would get you shot in this part of the streets. She asked clients about their cousins' jobs, their boyfriend's car, what time their neighbor got home from work, and she remembered everything. License plates, addresses, random dates people mentioned while getting their roots touched up. I mean, everyone gave it naturally. She was charming, always smooth with the jokes, and even made the shy ones open up. But then she did other strange things that really threw me off. She constantly took these smoke breaks but never actually smoked. Never even came back smelling like smoke, only strong perfume. She also carried around this cute pink diary, scribbling in between appointments. But I never complained. People loved her. Plus, she was the only person willing to work in a neighborhood where DoorDash wouldn't even deliver. When the local gang showed up my first week demanding protection money, Paula didn't bat an eye and minded her own business while I handled them. She focused on blow drying some ladies' hair and waited for them to leave before asking people in the store about them. Who are those guys? How often they come by here? The lady groaned. Oh, them? Trust me, you don't want to know. Well, I'll tell you this though. My stalker ex was part of them, she said, before proceeding to drop every piece of information on the gang that she knew. After getting the full story, Paula just nodded and said, "Don't worry, if I know anything, it's that karma works in mysterious ways. We just gotta be ready for it." And as if she had jinxed it, things really did start looking up in the oddest ways. The lady who had been rambling about her stalker ex came in sobbing with joy, telling Paula all about how he'd gotten picked up by the feds on some random warrant from 3 states over. Paula just smiled and said, "See, karma." Then the gang member who threatened to burn down my shop if I didn't pay up got arrested for tax evasion. Tax evasion. What street thug gets busted for tax evasion? The drug dealer who operated out of the abandoned building next door got raided by the DEA at 6 in the morning. Issues I'd had to deal with all my life started vanishing like the universe suddenly made a to-do list, and I started to wonder if Paula had anything to do with it. I started noticing patterns. Paula's smoke breaks happened right before police sirens. The questions she asked matched details I'd hear about later when someone got arrested. She somehow knew which clients to book on which days. Like she'd randomly reschedule someone and that'd be the day bullets went through our front window. And for some reason, people started calling us the Miracle Salon. They'd come from across the city just to get their hair done and tell Paula their problems like she was a priest who could directly ask God for some instant karma. She'd listen while shampooing their hair and ask these specific questions. Where's he live? Car? House? Thank you cards started coming to the salon saying the craziest things like, ever since my haircut, my abusive husband's crimes finally caught up. I was overwhelmed by it all. Not really in a bad way, just that my head couldn't keep up with all the things happening. Within months of opening up the salon, the street suddenly got safer, and the city felt more colorful and alive. I tried asking Paula what she thought about all this craziness. She just laughed loudly and played it off. Oh, I wish I was some messiah, but no, I just cut hair and listen to problems, and sometimes give advice if I can. But all the blessings weren't always so great. The local gang controlling the streets got more restless. They placed graffiti across the shop, calling us a cursed snitch salon. Paula just painted over it herself in her spare time. Criminals are so superstitious, she said. Then, last month, the gang leader himself showed up with the entire group, holding baseball bats and other weapons. This salon is cursed, he said. Everyone who comes here, you're done. Just before I could walk over, Paula pulled me into a cafe across the street and whispered, "Don't do anything." I tried to shake her off. "That's my store they're breaking." She pulled me down into a chair and shook her head. She opened her phone and gave one simple line, "It's happening." Within 3 minutes, the street was swarming with federal agents. They arrested the whole gang right there on my salon floor. Paula and I watched through the dusty window as they loaded everyone into vans, leaving the streets empty and clear. I watched the whole thing with wide eyes and looked back at her. What was that? That's when she finally told me the truth. She stayed in this neighborhood for a couple of years as a kid before moving away, but the friends she made here never left her mind. She worked with the FBI for 15 years before specifically requesting this assignment. I read your file and your story, heard about your dream from others in the neighborhood before I officially went undercover. Not only was it the perfect cover to clean up this place, but you also reminded me of my own mom growing up who ran a laundromat before we moved away. Everything she mentioned completely blew me away. I could barely believe her even after watching the arrests happen live. She handed me the cute pink diary she always carried and showed all the notes she took from each client. I nodded, finally open to believing. So what happens now? Paula offered me witness protection, but I said no, insisting that the neighborhood was safe now. Paula stayed as a hairdresser, but sometimes leaves to go do whatever the FBI do. Last week, she opened up the idea of us franchising to another city that needed help, and honestly, I might be down for it.